News Radio 700 WLW.
What's top of mind for everybody right now? I mean, you know, the economy, prices.
Gas prices.
Good Lord.
Woof.
When I came back from vacation, when I left, gas was $3.99, and I really needed gas the first day I was back. So I went to get gas, and it was $4.39 a gallon. And I was like, but what? Yeah. And people are, well, you went to the wrong place. Well, obviously I did, but that just kind of is indicative of, you know, it's somewhere between $4 and that, even though it seems to have dropped a little bit now.
A little bit. Little being the opportune word.
And
it's still very painful.
Everyone's talking about inflation, obviously prices of everything. We're going to be talking about restaurant closures coming up here in a little bit due to all the prices going on. But here talking about, and the midterms going to be coming up, and this stuff's going to start getting real important as if it isn't already, and I'm talking politically. Let's talk to our good friend. He is an economic strategist. He is an author. We love having him on. He is our good friend, Dan Varroney. Dan, welcome back.
I'm happy to be back, and happy Monday.
And yeah, as good as it gets. So, so Dan, you heard us talking there. What are we looking at here now? Or is everything contingent on Iran right now and what happens there?
So I think the answer is we are in the middle of an energy price shock. That energy price shock is as a result of Iran. So I think there's two different stories I can share with you. The first is that the economy is performing better than we realize. Over the last 3 months, employers have created roughly 188,000 jobs per month. Unemployment is at 4.3%. The Atlanta Fed is forecasting a 3% or so growth for the second quarter. So we're not an economy in retreat. It's an economy that's showing resilience despite the higher energy prices that we're all paying, despite the elevated interest rates and the global uncertainty. So I'll start with that. The second part of that story, Eddie, is the energy price shock, because what's happened is that oil goes into almost, is a part of every major product category in our country. So when we go to the hardware store, the foodware store, or any store, the gas station, we're seeing things at higher price points. And it's really, really troubling. But we know why it's there. And I'm confident that when the situation in Iran and the Middle East goes away or settles down considerably, our prices over time will return to where they were or close to where they were.
I'm glad you brought that up, Dan, because that was the question. That was the one question I was going to ask you about. Was it's not just when we take our big gas guzzling GMC Yukon or Eddie's big Maserati to the gas pump. It's not just there. It's everything else, because everything else that we use our food from the grocery store, from a restaurant. I got to get a new belt. That's all of it comes some way, somehow by a truck. And guess what? Those trucks use fuel. So that makes the price of everything else go up.
You're absolutely right. We've all experienced it. My wife and I experience it. When we go to the food store, we go to the Target, go to Walmart, it's all over the place. But what I would tell you is that despite these challenges, that Americans are still out buying things. And that's important because we're in a 70% consumer-driven economy. And the fact that they're out still buying things, I think, is really good news. But for me, my base case remains continued growth despite the energy price shock. The labor market, it's healthy. Consumers keep spending. The Atlanta Fed forecasts roughly 3% growth. It is the biggest variable, meaning energy. Now, if these prices stabilize, I think the economy will continue to expand. If they rise significantly, I think businesses will become far much more cautious than they are today.
Mm-hmm. We're talking to Dan Varroney. And Dan, let me ask you this on the other side of that coin. Let's say this thing, whatever, it's settled this Friday. Will this economy erupt with the promise of cheaper energy prices and prices falling? I mean, and by that I mean, will everybody say, okay, big sigh of relief. The stock market shoots through the roof. Prices drop, 20% or whatever the case might be, and everybody's happy again. Would that happen, or is that a long process?
So I don't think it's a long process, but I'll give you a data point, give you both a data point. Do you know that the American people in the additional energy fees have paid in round numbers around $47 billion extra dollars? So imagine having that money redirected, the buoyancy, the joy that we will all have. Why not have paying these higher gas prices and higher food prices and other higher goods prices? I think, so here's the reality of it. So I think gas prices will come down over 2 to 3 weeks. I think that food and other goods prices will take an appreciable period of time. Let me tell you what I mean by that. So let's say, I'm going to make this up to make a point. Let's say the war ends, you're right, on Friday. I think by July 1st, the gas prices come down. I think by September 30th, we'll see an appreciable drop in prices. And I think by the end of the year, I think things will be where they were pre-war.
Well, yeah, Dana, one of the things you hear about when gas prices go up and, it's the Middle East and turmoil in the Middle East. And why can't we just be reliant upon ourselves here in America for fuel and build this pipeline and that and all that? Right. Really, at the end of the day, Dan, right, it's about refineries. We don't have the right. We've got plenty of oil in this country. We just don't have the refineries to turn that oil into what's needed to be put in your car or to make goods.
So you're absolutely right about that. We haven't built a new refinery, I think, since the 1970s. I think there's a new one going to come online in the not too distant future. But there's another part of that too, and this is important. That 20% of the world's oil come through the Strait of Hormuz. And the challenge is that even though we're pumping and producing more oil here in the U.S., oil is priced globally, not locally.
Yeah.
So when you see that WTI, that's the West Texas number, and you see it almost somewhat comparable to the other crude prices around the world. That's why. It's because oil is priced globally. Now that I've said that, what's been interesting to me is that the UAE is extricating themselves from OPEC Plus because they want to increase their own domestic production. They want to build their own pipeline. They want to find another way other than the Strait of Hormuz. Mm-hmm. And I think there will be some strategic positive things that come out of this situation. I think other countries in the Middle East will seek alternative routes and alternative solutions to pump their oil and to move it through different means and shield themselves from future shocks like this.
In a massive capitalist society, it's interesting you mentioned there, like, we haven't built a new refinery since the 70s. Why is that? Is it just incredibly expensive, or is it all the environmental stuff? Is it dictated not by American business standards, and it's the world economy?
No, I'm going to tell you. So here's bluntness all the way through. Our permitting situation in this country is beyond ridiculous.
Yep.
So when you look at regulations and permitting, it's not only in the oil industry, but it goes across every industry. So my recent book is on small business, and the thing standing in the way of their growth, of their productivity, and their success is permitting and regulations. Small businesses ought to have scaled regulations just for them, because these things are written for the large companies anyway. But from a refinery perspective, our permitting is just out of sight. It's outrageous. I think that environmentalists have gone overboard, talking about too much by half. It's too much by half and then some. And that's a challenge. It's a big challenge when you're trying to stabilize oil and energy prices here in the United States.
So in your mind, we're talking to Dan Varroney. Dan, I mean, and it would seem, and I think we've all heard talk about this forever, but it's a top-down deregulation situation we're looking at here. I mean, this all needs to have a hard look taken at it, huh?
I think a long, hard look for sure. especially for small and mid-sized businesses,
Correct.
but for businesses across the board, because instead of helping the country and helping our people and helping the economy, we are hindering it. We're creating levels of burden, expense, and caution that wouldn't exist otherwise.
All right. Well, Dan, it is always our pleasure. People want to find out more about what it is you do. Where can they go?
They can go to potomaccore.com and find out a lot about what I do on a strategy and market research basis. And they can go to danielvarroney.com, learn more about my book. And if not, they can go to amazon.com, and there they'll find Rethinking Economic Growth.
All right. And Dan and I are in our communication today. You're going to be in town here in a few weeks, right?
Yeah, we're going to be there. My wife, who I call my princess, in July, early July, we're married 46 years. We're going to be there. We're going to a concert in the middle of July, and we're going to nail down those dates tonight. And would love to come by and do a live on-air conversation with you.
We'd love to have you in, man. Thanks so much.
You're welcome. Enjoy the evening.
Take
Thanks,
care. Dan Varroney.